Hey guys, so in this little commuting video, I want to talk a little bit about market manipulation because I'm hearing that term a lot, and I don't think most people actually knows what it is. It's thrown out there all the time, and we seem to have the idea that either it is somewhere between made up bullshit that people use to try to justify what we can't control, to the Illuminati is controlling all of our bags and we have no say in the matter, and everything in between. So I want to just touch a little bit about some of the common cases of market manipulation so that way you can see them coming. Because if you can see them before they happen, you can make money. If you can get ahead of the big guys, because most people won't. So the market manipulators, the smart money, they don't actually care if you as an individual outsmart them or get ahead of them because the masses won't. Right? So if you know some of the normal ways of doing it and you can see the signs, you can get ahead of it. Second, I'll just quickly update you guys with what I'm doing during this dip, and do I think it could go more? The short is it can always go down further. It's crypto, always can. But I'm buying a little bit. I have some buy limits in case it goes a little bit lower, because generally weekends are red, and it's usually even more so when we have several red days leading up to the weekend, like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Doesn't usually flip on Saturday or Sunday. So it's usually better buying opportunities. But anyway, I want to get in a little bit in the market manipulation, what it is, and there are many different types. So as I'm going through, or feel free to get ahead of me, put down some of the things that you guys have noticed that tends to be manipulated in the market, and if so, and even more so, do you have anything that you do to get around it or get ahead of it? So let's hop right in. So one of the biggest cases, or at least you'll say one of the more intense ones that I see routinely, is manipulation with over-the-counter versus spot buys. So real briefly, if you don't know what over-the-counter or spot buying is, the difference. Retail, we buy spot, right? I mean, we can do leverage tradings and everything on derivatives, but otherwise you buy from an exchange, you're buying spot. Buy it, hold it, whatever. If you have large sums of money, whales, Michael Saylor from Strategy, right, countries, they will not buy spot. They will not just go onto Coinbase and buy, $250 million worth of Bitcoin. It's not what they do. They do what's called over-the-counter, where they get a hold of essentially the exchange. They make a deal behind closed doors, usually at a cheaper price than what the market is, because they're buying a large surplus, and it doesn't affect the price. This is how and why when you see something like Saylor bought $500 million worth of Bitcoin, the price doesn't move. It's because he didn't buy it on the open market. He bought it over the counter. So market manipulators can do either way to help control things. Obviously, they like buying at a cheaper price without affecting the price. Because if they're buying something that if we all put in $500 million into Bitcoin, that price would move. Saylor, not at all. So they can buy more without raising the price as they buy it, and they're happy with a larger bag, and the price is still low. And they'll wait for us to buy it so the price is raised, and then they make their money from it. They can also do it in the inverse. And I'm seeing people talk about it, right? Where there's a couple of crypto companies right now. Buybacks is a big thing. I love buybacks. Don't get me wrong. Manipulation can be for the positive at times too. Where they'll buy back their own coins on exchanges, which raises the price of the crypto, and they're buying it. So this way they can manipulate their own prices of things in this way. And that method works great, and some of us investors will hop right into that when we hear it, like, oh, let's get in there now, which raises their prices even more. So once they have it, they're happy. Market manipulation. Another thing is, again, it's a lot of exchanges. They have a decent amount of control, at least on the gross component of it. Right? Is, let's say Coinbase and Binance, for example. They can see where the leverages are. They can see what price people have longs and shorts at, and where their stops are. And as a generalization, we tend to do around the same areas. Right? Like maybe a lot of people have a Bitcoin short stomped out at 105K, and a lot of longs at 130. Right? I mean, there's the range is very common. So a lot of people get stuck in this liquidation frame, little region. So if exchanges know that they're getting close to having a lot of longs hit, they will sell a lot of the crypto on the exchange, on the market, lower the price, liquidates the longs or the shorts, so that way all that money goes out. And that is kind of appears to be what happened on this last crash to start it, is that a lot of leverages were liquidated. And I didn't look to see if this was a specific case where the exchanges went ahead and bought or sold to control it, but they do. It works, and they've even admitted to it. It was a little less than a year ago, I think, where it was an article by, okay, I don't really remember enough to quote too much on this one, but it was by one of the large bigwigs of Binance, stated how, yeah, they do this, they got to make money too, it's a business. And they got a little shit for it, but I thought it was great that they were at least honest about it. But like, yeah, it's legal, it's business, it's money. What's the problem? Stop me, right? So exchanges will do that stuff, and if they're right to, it just kind of sucks. Another one is media and timing, right? Media is part of the market manipulators, because whether they do it purposely or accidentally, some definitely do both. Some people are on the payroll, so to speak. Media will push different stories or companies in crypto. Companies will pay the media to promote different stories and crypto. And it's why we can see swings, and part of the reason why we see narratives and fads, where advertising will come in bulks and groups. You know, it's not coincidental that when we've been close to, we'll go back to Bitcoin example, we get close to an all-time high, and those of us in the market know it, but we don't hear about it on social media yet or over the news. At that point, we know it's not going to actually go past all-time high. It's going to hit resistance and come down. Maybe that'll happen 2 or 3 times, like Ethereum kept bouncing off that $5,000 range. Wait to see the time that it actually blasts past it. A day or 3 before, you're going to hear on the news about Ethereum ETFs, how Ethereum's the new Bitcoin, Ethereum's going to do well, and then it's probably be around 40, 41, 4,200 or so at the time. Media hits it. The whales have already bought. Everyone now hearing that Ethereum's new Bitcoin, they can look to see that it raised 20% in 4 days. Oh, it must be good. Everyone apes it and buys. It's easy. Human mentality is the herd mentality. So we all kind of know it. It's recognizing so you don't get caught into it, because other people will use it for their advantage. And again, fair play. And the last one on this list for today is regulated bot buys and sells, where you see this a lot in the smaller crypto, and where we end up seeing just a lot of buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, to where at the end of the day it's relatively flatlined, but this shows one, trading volume, right? Even if it's the same bots, maybe you got 100 bots that are buying, you know, a couple $100 worth at a time, buying and selling, it looks like there's volume. And one of the things a lot of investors look at, and just general metrics, is the volume of trading that's happening in a day on a crypto or on an exchange. And it can certainly be used to make something look like it's doing better than what it is. And I'll be honest, those get really annoying when you see it. But you know, it's a more minor form, but there's a lot of different ways people can do this. So let me know down in the comments below if you've recognized these, if you've done anything to get ahead or to work around or make sure they don't get caught in any of these traps. And lastly, now's a great time. I know you guys are tired of hearing DCA, but that is how we make money, right? You have to spend money to make money. You have to own more of an asset at a cheaper price to make more money when it goes up at a higher price, right? It's basic, it's common, we understand it, but we get tired of hearing it. It's still a very good thing to do when you have the funds. Something else you guys are tired of hearing of is that this might be the last big dip and chance to buy crypto at a cheap price. And yeah, I know, I feel a little dirty, and I think I just gave myself a minor STD just for saying it. But eventually that's going to be true, right? I know we get tired of it, but one of these is going to be, and this could be the last good time to buy. You know, last cycle, I always forget if it was 53 or 57%, but Bitcoin dropped, we'll call it 53%, in just a handful of weeks, and everyone thought it was over, and then it raised back to all-time highs, right? And then when we look back in hindsight, and it's obvious as can be, because it's hindsight, that was the last and best good opportunity to buy. We won't know when that is until it happens. So that's where it's if you have expendable cash, obviously not financial advice, but now appears to be a good time. I'm making use of it. I have not opened a new position, though I think now is a great time for certain ones, probably moderate caps and lower for new positions, though large caps are going to hit next. Ethereum still has a little ways to go. I think Ethereum has another big boost, probably going up to around the 63 to 65 grand range, and then we'll see large caps burst. And I'm not saying Ethereum stops there. I just think that's going to be about the point of the next big boost before we go from Bitcoin, Ethereum to large caps. So large caps right now also is not a bad idea to get into, because they're likely going to be the next big narrative to explode in the next month or so, 2 to 6 weeks. And the micro caps, most of them will probably have buying opportunities again, because micro caps, they tend to go last, they tend to go up and then back down. So when I say go last, they tend to stay high last. So I look at it as I probably have a little bit more time to buy my micro caps. But with that being said, I'm looking at buying a large cap. I'm looking at getting into Avalanche. I've kept my eye on it for a long time. It's underperforming, and I just haven't committed to jumping into it yet. What I did end up doing is I bought a few more quant. I was surprised to see it get down to just under 90. Wasn't thrilled by it, but also wasn't upset, because I have some funds to be able to buy a few more of it. I also threw in a little bit more in ASM, because I was able to lower my average a little bit more, down to the low 1.9 cents on that one for my average. So there was also a little addition of turbo. So I started a mini turbo spot bag. I don't know if I'm gonna hodl onto that one. That one might be more of a swing trade again. I haven't fully decided, which shame on me for not having a full plan when I bought one. But that one might end up being a swing trade again. Then otherwise, yeah, I'm keeping an eye on if Aerodrome drops a little bit more. It's not quite in the buy range for me based on my average and my goals in the other crypto and yada yada. And I'm still also keeping an eye on Beam. I could end up coming from left field and buying something else completely specifically for a swing, but those I would be looking for as spot holds for the little bit. But let me know what you guys are doing. Are you buying, selling, trading, crying in the corner? How you guys holding up? If you felt a little bit of stress the last week, that's normal. Welcome to crypto. It's a hell of a ride. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.